What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode 159 of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, same as last week, I want to ask you to share it with 2 friends to listen to the episode and then make yourself available to chat with them. And if you can't do that, then just like the podcast, subscribe, follow, share the link, whatever you can do. If you'd like to get our curriculum, you can get the paperback or ebook From Ashes to Destiny on Amazon. When we come back, we'll get into this episode entitled Victims and Fear. Welcome back to episode 159 of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast entitled Victims and Fear. Well, this episode came as a follow-up from episode number 158. I got several contacts from people requesting a follow-up, and this quote that came in from one of the listeners really summarizes where I'm going this week. They said, "Love the episode, but I personally don't struggle with violence. As a childhood victim, I've been paralyzed by fear my whole adult life." Shaw. So I want to ask you, are you in that category where fear is paralyzing you? Or maybe it's making you live a small life or a narrower life than you could enjoy if you'd be free of your fear. Could even unknown fears be influencing your decision making? Even if you maybe are overcautious or you make all of your choices based on what would be the safest one with the least risk. Well, fear can get to that point where, especially for those of us who've been victims, it can take over our life. So I want to start out with the words of a song, Fear is a Liar, by Zach Williams. He says, "Fear, he is a liar. He will take your breath, stop you in your steps. Fear, he is a liar. He will rob you of your rest. He will steal your happiness. Cast your fear in the fire, 'cause fear, he is a liar." So I guess I want to ask right up front here, has fear been taking your breath? Has it stopped you in your steps? Has it robbed you of your rest? Has it stolen your happiness? How do we even get to the point where we can cast our fear in the fire? Especially if we're staying numb or paralyzed for fear of getting hurt again. If we're avoiding relationships, or we're only giving our recovery or relationships a half-hearted effort. Maybe because we never want to trust anyone again. And we end up living our entire life without enthusiasm or energy for anything. Have you been living a life with the past trapping you in any of these ways? Or maybe you're trapped by the thoughts that you have no future because of what you lost in the past. Can you reach the point that one of the listeners sent in to me today where they said, "I'm tired of feeling trapped, and I hope that one day I'll figure out or find someone who can help me get free. I just don't want to be trapped anymore." So I want to ask, do you have a higher power or someone or a support system to help you overcome your fear and get out of the trap? There's a great promise from Isaiah chapter 41 and verse 10. It says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Are you in a position where your fear has become lifelong dismay? And do you not see anyone or any higher power to turn to for strength, for help, for someone who will uphold us? Well, the key is to find some way to begin to conquer your fears. And for me, what does it mean to conquer your fear? Well, I think for some of us, it's learning how to take our thoughts captive, because we get stuck in stinking thinking, we get stuck in depression, we get stuck in despair. And so our thoughts sort of run over into our emotions, and we need to figure out a way to take our emotions captive. For some of us, it feels like we're facing an army every day, and it seems like everyone is against us, and it's always been that way. So the sort of things that I've heard this past week again from listeners were, I just need someone to teach me how to stay in the present, to value today, to be grateful for what I still have rather than hateful because of what I've lost. Sure, that's a huge key right there. I want to thank the listener for that. Let me go back and say that again. I just need someone who can teach me how to stay in the present, to value today, to be grateful for what I still have rather than be hateful because of what I've lost. Is that you? Have you been sort of facing this invisible army that makes you feel outnumbered every day? And you've been resentful of all that you've lost. You've been resentful of the lost past stuff and how it keeps you from seeing the future. And I think the listener had a great key there where they said, I need to learn how to be grateful for what I still have rather than hateful for what I've lost. So we need to figure out how to begin to move forward, how to sort of face this enemy. And I think one of the keys, if you've studied history, which I did as an undergrad in university, and one of the keys, if you've got the smaller army and you're outnumbered, is choosing where the battle takes place and choosing the key people that you can take into battle with you. So I want you to think about, have you been trying in the past maybe even to face your fears, but you've done it in the midst of all the emotion and the turmoil and the negativity? Have you faced your fears by going back into the same relationships in the same areas and the same thoughts about those relationships that keep taking you out again and again and again? If so, I want to encourage you to be that small army that says, you know what, it's time I choose where the battle takes place. And I choose those key soldiers to link arms with to face this battle. Because conquering our fear allows us to break free from the past and to overcome the paralysis of remorse. So we have to reach that point where we can say, you know, I'm ready to stop living with the absence of joy. I'm ready to stop accepting the numbness as normal. I want life. I want joy. I want to be grateful. I want to live in the present and feel free. And you know what? Ralph Waldo Emerson once said that that's the secret of life. And I want to close with his quote, which says, "He who is not every day conquering some fear has not learned the secret of life." So I think it's time for all of us to learn the secret of life and conquer our fears every day. Thanks for listening to this episode of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you would like to join an online group or get one-on-one counseling to help you process your position as a victim still dealing with fear, please message me on the link in this podcast or by email at davidfromatod@gmail.com. As you've heard in this episode, I love the feedback and I try to get it right into a new podcast as quickly as possible. So I just want to encourage you to reach out. And you Spotify listeners, if you are listening that way, they have a comment link right on that platform so you can get in touch with me very easily that way. Tune in Monday for our next episode. And as always, stay safe and stay strong.